All right, the country's run by these completely incompetent dorks. I'm talking the dorkiest people you've ever encountered in your life that you think, God, he's such a dork and he's such a freak. One of those guys' name is Stephen Miller, and he has unprecedented power as the convicted felon president's chief policy advisor. And so here is Miller right here, and he has been priming the American public for the Insurrection Act. Play the clip.
Ryan, you called a legal ruling legal insurrection. Are you recommending the president take action against judges whose rulings he disagrees with?
No, it's simply a factually accurate statement that when a judge assumes for him or herself the powers that have been relegated or delegated by the Constitution to the president, that is a form of a legal insurrection. And we have seen
insurrection carries legal weight. So are you recommending?
We have seen over the last 9 months a ongoing legal insurrection in which district court judges, as a class, in many cases, have issued, which is why they've been overturned so much, have issued rulings that are.
He is claiming that the judges are enabling a legal insurrection. And what he wants to do here is then give the president himself powers to enact the Insurrection Act. And this is so incredibly dangerous. And to all of the Supreme Court justices, the 6 that are fucking around with this in this administration, you'll find out, because just like the Latinos for Trump have found out, at some point, their knives get aimed at you. Tim Cook is going to find this out. Sam Altman is going to find this out. Scott Bessent is going to find this out. These are the 3 gay people that have capitulated and or are serving this administration. At some point, the knives will get turned on you. They are priming the public for a military takeover. That they want martial law. They do not have any intention on leaving office, and they plan to do everything in their power to prevent the 2026 midterms.
I completely agree. And this is so dangerous. And just for the record, the job of the judiciary is to balance the legislative and executive branch. Trump does not have the power to overturn what judges say. Historically, the Constitution and the law grants the judges and the courts the ability to interpret laws made by Congress and orders made by the executive. He is lying. He is throwing up the Constitution and throwing it away. And the judge he was specifically referring to was a fucking Trump appointee. Like, they want everybody to agree with them. If you don't agree with them, you're part of Antifa. It's a domestic terrorism. If a judge rules on the law and precedent in the Constitution, they're committing an insurrection. And here's the thing. I am terrified because the Supreme Court has appeased Donald Trump so much, because the lower courts are doing their best to stop it. But I worry about the Supreme Court.
All right, next up we have Governor Pritzker, who I have to give 12 out of 10 stars to. He understands the moment. He is arriving at the moment, and he seems to be the politician, aside from Gavin Newsom, who understands the battle that is at hand. Please play the clip.
Escalation of violence is targeted and intentional and premeditated. The Trump administration is following a playbook: cause chaos, create fear and confusion, make it seem like peaceful protesters are a mob by firing gas pellets and tear gas canisters at them. Why? To create the pretext for invoking the Insurrection Act so that he can send military troops to our city. He wants to justify and normalize the presence of armed soldiers under his direct command.
What's so insane about this, number one, Pritzker is 100% spot on, and he has been the leader at saying exactly what this administration's long-term agenda is, and not being a status quo Democrat that's like, we just got to get to the midterms. He is calling out the danger of what this is. But what is really fascinating to me is the radicalization of so many Americans that are now on board with this. I think it's 40% of Americans support the National Guard being in the streets. To me, that's not a majority, but that's a large percentage. The way their language and Trump's use of language over the last 10 years has broken down the narrative that they don't understand the difference in living in a city or a town where you don't have to have the military on the streets, that our military goes abroad and fights battles over there. But the fact that so many Americans are now primed, 40% primed for this to happen in American cities is really, really troubling to me.
I completely agree. And the thing is when you hear them talk about it, the administration, they're like, it's criminals, it's gang members. It isn't. And these people believe it because they lack critical thinking skills. These are the same people that say, well, maybe we do need an authoritarian. I mean, these people have no ability to critically think. And the number one reason, in my opinion, they go along with all this is because they see brown people being hurt, tortured, and deported, and they like it. And if
let me jump in here. It's been a manipulation tactic by the Republicans and Fox News specifically for a very long time. When wages have not gone up on working class people, minimum wage hasn't raised, and you see wages have gone up on the top earners dramatically. So the best way to pitch that angst and anger that these people feel is to lie to them and scapegoat minorities, trans people, gay people, small percentage of the population, when it's actually the top 1% that's the problem. They're lying to you. Rupert Murdoch is as rich as fuck. He's got bank accounts that could choke a bull. He doesn't even remotely understand what it's like to face medical bankruptcy. Elon Musk has no clue what that would feel like. Donald Trump has never, he's filed bankruptcy before, but it's rich man bankruptcy. Mm-hmm. They have no clue. So all they have left is what all authoritarians do: find a unifying enemy. And in Nazi Germany, it was Jewish people. And here it is Black and brown people. And because the US population has always been somewhat racist, it's a really easy sell. And so it's crazy. And I don't think that they have any intentions of leaving office. Put up this tweet from David Frum. He's commenting on some Atlantic reporting that says Stephen Miller is portraying opposition to Trump in any form, including by judges issuing legal rulings, as an illegal rebellion. David Frum says they're not planning on leaving power ever. And that's exactly the vibes I get from every move they're making.
I completely agree. Look at the ballroom. Look at all the stuff he's doing. He wants to stay in power forever. And then after him comes Little Smokey.
Yes, but I think that the consolidation of the executive branch tells me more than anything. And the capitulation by SCOTUS to enable the executive to have that much goes right along with the language that you hear from far right oligarchs. You hear this from Elon Musk. You hear this from Peter Thiel, who is the funder / BFF of Smokey Eye Sociopath, Little Smokey J.D. Vance. They want an executive in charge of the United States of America. These men have decided democracy doesn't behoove people anymore. But we know we can't win at the polls. So we have to send in a Trojan horse, consolidate power in the executive, propagandize people along the way. You have all of these oligarchs that have the same intention, owning all of the information delivery systems, and it's absolutely terrifying. But I also want to highlight in all of this fear, such a simple message to combat this. And you have to remember, like you saw the video of Stephen Miller. I mean, he's such a repellent in every sense of the word. And AOC goes on her, I think it's maybe Instagram Live or TikTok Live, and she puts it so well. Play the clip.
The mistake that I made, and I made this early on, from all the movies that we see growing up about heroes and villains, is that I thought that fascist takeover attempts were going to be architected by evil geniuses. And I was not expecting how unearned, nepotistic, mediocre, and just dumb so many of the people architecting this were going to be. And it works because of brute force. Like, you can do anything through brute force, but it's not sophisticated and it does not merit my intellectual respect. That's my thought of the day.
Okay. And in this series, she went on to call Stephen Miller, she suspected he was 4 foot 10 inches.
Mhm.
And I get those vibes from him as well,
Yes.
little Napoleon vibes from him. And I agree with her that in these, all the movies we've seen, the villains are kind of smart. And there's something kind of evilly cool about them. The villains here are so awful. And what's so traumatizing is you have part of the country that is celebrating these dorky villains. I mean, completely unearned dorky villains. Well, you know, Fox News loves to browbeat AOC.
Mhm.
And so they actually did a segment. Put up the tweet first, Kylie. Okay, so AOC tweets, I cannot believe they aired this and made him listen to it live with the crying, laughing emoji. And she says, I'm crying. So they aired this on Fox News. Laura Ingraham of AOC is saying that she thought Stephen Miller was 4 foot 10 inches. And I want to tell you, they air this shit because these are the wars that they fight. They're not airing about inflation through the roof. They're not airing about Trump being cankles deep in the middle of a pedophile ring. They're not airing that he has not solved 7 wars. They're not airing the cognitive decline. They're not airing any of that shit. They're airing this. Now play the clip.
Even AOC is you're her favorite target apparently on Instagram. Check this out.
He looks like he is angry about the fact that he's 4'10". And he looks like he is so mad that he is 4'10", that he's taking that anger out at any other population possible. Like, laugh at them. Laugh at them.
Like, laugh at them. Laugh at them. I wish I had a hoodie on. I mean, are we trying to play sorority sister as elected official? I don't know. I was at a sorority over the weekend over in Texas. I felt like I was back at the sorority house, except they had more sense. Stephen, quick response.
Well, we knew that her brain didn't work. Now we know their eyes don't work. So I mean, she is a mess, right? What a train wreck. What a train wreck.
I think you should just get a hoodie. You should just wear a hoodie from now on and respond to her.
That's enough. This is what millions of Americans watch every night. And that's why I show you this. This is a man who we started off this clip this episode where he's talking about the Insurrection Act. Mm-hmm. And AOC is calling him out the way everybody should call them out. These are dorky, little dick energy pipsqueaks. Every single one of them. And I guarantee you, they would go to the ends of the earth to hide their Google search profiles. I guarantee you it's not good. I guarantee you Pipsqueak Miller is just full of a bunch of really weird shit. And they should be ridiculed all day, every day, nonstop. Good on AOC. And how embarrassing that Laura Ingraham, that's what she has to report on. Yeah. This stupid shit. And to have Stephen Miller, you saw him there, he tried to laugh at him, but it 100% got under his skin.
No, but he can't laugh at himself because he is so evil and tortured and insecure. And I just want to say 2 things. Number one, all he had to do was say, I'm 6'1". That's what my height is, but he doesn't because he's I bet he is under 5 feet, maybe not quite that small. And every time he comes on the screen, I remember Jesse Waters on Fox News saying, Stephen Miller, you're a sexual matador. I can't get it out of my head.
Well, it's because they are so repulsive. If you look at Stephen Miller, you look at Ted Cruz, you look at Kanks, look at Elon Musk. And his botched penile surgery. These are the most, AOC summed it up. These are the dorkiest, inept, dumb, villains on the planet. They should be mercilessly ridiculed by every politician all day, every day. And it's so rich for Laura Ingraham to sit there and say, oh my God, she thinks she's trying to be cool. You guys are the jet stream of bullshit propaganda 24/7, 365. You don't like it. You don't like it tossing back to you. Tough titties, because I think every politician should take a note from AOC. Plain spoken, talk about what ridiculous, titty baby, whining, insecure, inept, incompetent, morally deranged, intellectually lazy. I don't even know you can put intellect in the frame of them. Stephen Miller, parents probably hated him. All of his classmates probably hated him. So we're seeing all of this act out, because if I gave birth to a son like that, I'd probably fucking hate him too. That's how hateable and unfuckable Stephen Miller is. And lastly, I want to bring you to Hanks keeps talking about his death. Play the clip.
Doesn't have faith, doesn't have God. It's going to be very hard to be a good country. You know, there's no reason to be good. I want to be good because you want to prove to God that you're good, so you go to that next step, right? So that's very important to me. I think it's really very important. And yesterday was amazing. We went out, we went to the naval base, the largest in the world, actually.
Okay.
And
so for him, he's this non-religious person his whole life has all of a sudden started talking about how he's got to get to the next step. And I just think that his health, the swollen ankles, the bruises on his hands, the dementia, I think that at some point the doctor's probably been fired. But I think at some point at Walter Reed, somebody probably said, look, you've got some major health issues. You know, he's failed the cognitive test. Otherwise he wouldn't fucking talk about it. He's probably failed it multiple times because he talks about it all the time. And I think that those cankles and those bruises and the sundowner dementia hour in the Oval every night, somebody who's probably been fired said, look, buddy, TikTok, biology is about to catch up with you. And then he started, because he's hanging out with all these Bible thumper tongue talkers. Now he started all of this. I'm going to try to get into heaven. All right. That's all we have. We'll be back later with more news.